Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So behind me, we're going to take a look at the 2023 Audi S5 Sportback. Huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this for me today. Definitely check out their website. They have a lot of awesome inventory. That link is down in the description. The S5 Sportback that you see behind me is finished off in Mythos Black Metallic with an MSRP just over $65,000. And to start off today's review, let's take a look at what powers this S5. Underneath the hood is the 3-liter V6 paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. This pumps out 349 horsepower around 6,300 RPM and 369 pound-feet of torque around 3,200 RPM. That power sent through the Quattro all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 3,900 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds with a top speed of 155 miles an hour. And it has a fuel capacity of 15.3 gallons. You'll expect to see around 21 miles per gallon in the city and 30 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 111.2 inches. Its overall length is 187.5. It has a width of 72.6 and a height of 54.6 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this 23 S5, let's start off with the fact that this model is completely blacked out. So the hexagonal grille, the surround is finished off in gloss black, and all of the mesh is finished off in black. Even with the blacked out Audi logo, gives it a mean presence from up front. The hexagonal pattern within the cutouts too also provides a lot of cooling to this engine, and this model even has a forward-facing camera to give you that added visibility, along with all the parking sensors that are located in the grille and on the corners too. Now this model has the adaptive cruise control and all of that technology, so there are sensors in the corners surrounded with more trim, more parking sensors, and there's also a cutout on the far end of that bumper to provide a little bit more aerodynamics. Now the lower section of that bumper is finished off in black too, and this even has the Matrix LED headlights with the LED DRLs and turn signals. I love the design within the upper section of the housing, and the hood has some great lines meeting the top of that grille. There's 2 on each sides. Those lines basically start by the side view mirrors and continue to the front of the grille, just to give it more of a nice design for this Sportback model. Now as we move on to the side, this model has the upgraded 20-inch wheels with the 5-spoke design, 2-tone pattern, and the black brake calipers are just behind them. Now the side mirrors are body colored. They feature the integrated turn signal along with a camera. This even has a sunroof. All of the window trim is blacked out. There's nice lines too that extend from the headlights just above the door handles all the way to the taillights, where there's also an S5 badge just in front of that side view mirror, and very crisp lines running down the side. I love the Sportback design that it has to offer. There's some more lines down in the lower side skirt too. It flows nicely to this rear end, where the Audi badge is blacked out just like up front. There's a backup camera. All of the parking sensors are in the lower section of the bumper. This even has LED taillights and turn signals with that sequential design, which is really nice to see. There's some more trim in the middle of the diffuser there, along with the quad tip dual exhaust, which will start up later in this video. So with the exterior wrapped up for this S5, let's move on to the cargo space now. If I double tap this button on the key fob or use the button located with the rear view camera there, the entire back will open up. And being the Sportback model, this gives you a lot more additional storage space, a lot more convenient than a traditional trunk. Over on the driver's side, there is a net. There's also a little bit more storage on the passenger side and a lot of space with those back seats up. There's even a small removable tray. And then underneath the floor, if I open this up, this does have a spare tire with a little bit more hidden storage if you need to utilize that for any other reason. And then when you fold these back seats down, that gives you a lot more interior storage. You could fit bicycles, maybe small bikes, any items like that. There's definitely a lot of space, making this very, very practical. Now with the power liftgate, you can close and lock the vehicle. The one on the left side will just close it by itself. And so we can move on to these back seats now. With this S5, you can lock and unlock the car from the back door handles, which makes it a lot more convenient. And this interior is very, very nice. There's suede and leather on the door panel, along with all of the stitching. There's this carbon fiber just underneath the brushed aluminum release handle. This even has the Bang & Olufsen sound system, a little bit of storage space in that door too. And moving on to these black leather seats, they have that diamond stitch pattern running down the inserts. And at 5'10", I can hop into the back where it is a little bit awkward, but I have the front seat set at my height. I have plenty of room for my feet and my knees. There's also a storage net behind both front seats, 2 air vents in the middle along with the temperature dial and some auxiliaries, so that way you can charge electronics. And as far as headroom goes, my head is just up against the headliner. So even though this has the Sportback design to it, you're not sacrificing too much headroom. I am comfortable. I could ride in this for a long period of time. Just know that it is a little bit tight if you're any taller than me. And then right in the middle, we have the armrest. So I can pull this down where there's even a little bit of storage space on the back section. And then the individual cup holders are on each side. And then you can also fold this middle completely down by itself if you need a little bit more room to gain access in between both of these seats. And then as far as visibility goes from the back seats, I'm glad that there's an extra window right at the headrest there, so that way it's not too enclosed for your backseat passengers. You still have plenty of room for 3 people. Now, as we make our way to the front seats, the door panel is just like the rear. However, there's the addition of all the window controls, even the side mirror adjustments. They are power folding and heated too. More of that carbon fiber, all of the memory seating adjustments, lock and unlock. A little bit more storage space in the lower section, even with the rear liftgate release and one of the speakers. S is also down on the door sill, finished off in brushed aluminum. And we have that same design for these bucket seats with the S logo embroidered in the upper section. These are automatic seats, so all of those adjustments are down on the side, and they're even massaging, so that function is located just above that. Now, as we move on to the front seats now, it's much easier to get in and out than the back seats, obviously. And looking at the steering wheel, it has a great design with the combination of solid and perforated leather. S badge is in the lower section with some brushed aluminum. Now on this right side is the heated steering wheel button, along with Bluetooth and voice commands. There's volume and tuning for the radio. On this left side is some more controls for that gauge cluster, which I'll come back to. Even the cruise control and adaptive cruise control stock is on that left side. This has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, which are finished off in black. But let's fire up this S5. With my foot on the brake, that button is over on the right side, and we can bring this to life. And looking at the virtual cockpit, currently right in the middle is the tach along with miles per hour, what gear the vehicle is in. On the right side is the date and the time. And then on the left side, you can go through a lot more info using those arrows over on the left side of the steering wheel. So currently it's showing consumption. If I scroll down, there's the short-term and long-term memory. You can look at the energy consumers along with the driver assistance, even the traffic signs. And then up at the top is the fuel level. If I scroll over now, we can go into any messages that may appear along with the audio. You can pull up your phone when you have that paired. Even view the navigation, so you can have that over on the left side. Now if I click on this view button, we can completely change this. Now the navigation is in full screen, so if you'd like to see that, of course, where you're going, you have all of those great graphics. And then you can still go through all the other information that I previously showed in a little bit larger of a screen. So just depending on what you'd like to see, if you need to have the nav up or you want it minimized so you can look at some of the other information, it's awesome to have that configurability. Now over on the left side of the steering wheel is all the headlight adjustments, a dimmer switch for the gauges. There's more of that carbon fiber trim, even a compartment down below where you could place a lot of items. It's definitely a large area for that. Very nice to see that. There's also one air vent. And then as we work our way to the middle, this is the 10.1-inch touchscreen system. There's a lot more info to go through. Currently, you can see all these icons here like weather, news, you have some user information. If I scroll over, we have all the other icons like radio, media, you can go into your phone, even the navigation. Now, if I click on vehicle, we can go into the drive select, where this has a few different modes, comfort, auto, dynamic, and individual, just depending on how you'd like to drive this. There's the lighting and the visibility. You can go into the seats to adjust the massaging seats and all of that. There's even the air conditioning you can go into. And then if I click on home, we're back to the icons here. I can even swipe over to this triple screen view where there's the music, your phone, and the navigation. So you can have all three of those up at once. Over on this left side, there are shortcuts to the Sirius radio along with your normal radio. You can pair your phone here too. You can pull up your phone and then pull up the navigation in full screen on this system. So it's really nice how usable that is. Just underneath that, there are two air vents along with the hazards, and then the air vent trim goes all the way to the passenger side, so it's one continuous strip. Right in the middle is all the climate adjustments, finished off in brushed aluminum. If you hover your finger over these, it will actually show you if you need to push this up or down, depending on what you'd like to get to. So it's really nice to see that function. Fan speed is right in the middle. There's where you'd like the air to go. You can even go to the rear adjustments if you need to. And with the dual zone up front, you have the different dials for driver and passenger. The heated seat controls are on each side of that. And then there's some defrosters right in the middle. And then underneath that, there's a shortcut to the drive select, so you can quickly get to all of that information. There's the engine start-stop feature, traction control, the parking sensors, which you can turn on and off. You can even shut off that upper screen too. So if you'd like it more in a calm setting, you can do that. You can tap on the screen to turn it back on. There's a little bit of storage space to the right side of the engine start-stop button and some auxiliaries so you can charge electronics. There are 2 cup holders right in the middle, a lot more storage space behind that, and then that leads us on to the leather wrap shifter. Now with the release on this left side, if I push this forwards, that is for the backup camera, and with that 3D camera system that I mentioned earlier, there are so many different views, just depending on the amount of visibility that you need. And that top-down view is over on that right side, along with the parking sensors, so it'll go back and forth between those, just depending on what you'd like to see. So I love the graphics for this system. Now, if I pull this all the way back into drive and pop it over to the right, that allows you to shift using the shifter or the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, and then park is on the back side. Now on the right side of that is volume and tuning for the radio, a little bit of storage space, and there's the electronic parking brake too. And then looking at the center armrest, it's finished off in black leather. If I open this up, there's the wireless charging pad, a little bit of storage behind it and an auxiliary and some storage on that one side. So it's nice to see that. And then the glove box has an ample amount of room for all of that information. We'll take another look at this interior. Very, very nice spec. And like I mentioned earlier, this does have a sunroof, so that control is right in the middle. You can use that to open up the sunshade and then further open up the sunroof too. And then the touch sensitive dome lights are also up top, and there's some call buttons on the back side. As we get this 2023 Audi S5 Sportback out on the road, this is probably one of my favorite Audi models, simply because not only does it have a awesome look to it, but it's also a functional style too. So if this is your only vehicle, you're looking for a sedan, but you also want more usable interior storage, this is a great design because we have that hatchback like you already saw. And then being the S5, this still has some performance to it. Just in normal mode, and we are up to speed. Nothing too crazy. That was about half, maybe less than half throttle acceleration. But let's pop it into the manual setting. We'll put it into dynamic. Woo. Shifts are pretty quick, very responsive. It's not a loud vehicle. You heard the exhaust rev there. It has some pops to it, like it wants to open up. So if you throw on an aftermarket exhaust, I'm sure this would sound really, really good. Couple pops there. So now that we get this out on the road, visibility here is actually pretty easy to see. Over that right shoulder, there's really no blind spots. Over the left shoulder, it's equally as good to see out. So I love with this Sportback design, you have the best of pretty much everything. You also have what is going to be a very comfortable daily driver. And as we get up to speed again, just like that, without even thinking. I love the power that this has. Now, if you want more power, you can go with the RS5 if you want, but with this S5, it's pretty much in the middle. There's the A5 underneath it. So if you want kind of that middle trim level that gives you some power, we even have a lot of nice materials on the inside here and a good price for it. It's a really good option. I love how comfortable these seats are too. We even have the adjustment that I forgot to mention just by pulling out basically the mini leg rest there. So if you need a little bit more comfort along with the massaging function, you could really definitely drive this every day. And then switching over to the POV angle, you can see what it's like to be behind the wheel of this S5. Now we'll pop it into the sport mode there, and with the drive select, I'm going to keep it in dynamic. Now obviously it does change when you go into auto or comfort, and we're coming up to that place where we need to make a quick U-E. So you can see the maneuverability. Now the curb is coming up there. If I put this into reverse, you can see how close we are with all those graphics, and then adjust those as you need to. So it makes it very, very convenient. And with a mild acceleration up to speed, as you can tell, not loud like I mentioned earlier. Taking bumps like that in dynamic mode, it's what you'd expect, but I love how Audis ride and drive. This is a super comfortable and quiet vehicle. It would definitely make for a great daily driver. And as we come up to a stop, we can test visibility from this angle. So you can see over this shoulder, definitely very easy. And then a quick glance over the right shoulder, a lot of glass. So it's definitely very open feeling, and then we have the sunroof as well. And I think that's gonna wrap it up for this 2023 Audi S5 Sportback. Once again, huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Definitely check out their website. That link is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.